Okay, so we're talking about AP tests a little bit. Should you take them? Should you not take them? Which ones do you need? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, and there are some interesting things that you'll hear from guidance departments. You'll hear from colleges. You'll hear from teachers, principals, and then from like students actually in college. Okay, and I will state this right now off the bat. I hold no allegiance to anyone except the members of the Intergalactic. I don't care about anybody else except the Intergalactic, so I'm going to be just like straight up honest with you here, okay? Are AP tests worth it? Maybe, but probably not. That's the quick answer. If you want to leave this video now, sure. But if you want to watch the whole thing and see what I mean by that, let's talk. So here's the thing with an AP test. Let's assume, because you're probably watching this, you might be in my class, or you might be thinking about an engineering or a science option, right? At Trinity, we offer AP Physics 1 and AP Physics 2. Both of these are algebra-based physics courses, okay? If you are going into a science or engineering, you probably don't need an algebra-based physics course. You need a calculus-based physics course, which means that you need to be taking AP Physics C, Mechanics, or AP Physics C, E&M. Now, the interesting thing about this is AP Physics C Mechanics is really just AP Physics 1 plus a little bit of calculus. And AP Physics C E&M, Electricity and Magnetism, is really just AP Physics 2, the E&M section of it, plus a tiny bit of calculus. I am going to teach you this year everything. I'm going to teach you all the Physics 2, so all of the Electricity and Magnetism, and I'm going to pin in there all the calc stuff. So if you do want to take this test, you can. Okay? The AP Physics 1 test, if you're going into a science or engineering, not worth it. You need to get this mechanics stuff, which means that you need to be taking this AP1 class, and then on the side, you need to be learning the calc stuff. Okay? And if you want to do that, I've got a lot of videos online that can help you out this year in regards to that too. Okay? Now, if you're like, well, Botzer, I'm taking a comp sci course or a software engineering, or I'm taking something else. What should I be doing? Okay, so here's what you need to do. And this is a pain in the butt, but it's what you have to do because every single college is different and you just don't know. So check this out. This is the University of Michigan's environmental engineering degree right here, okay? This is a sample schedule for the year 2019-2020 of their environmental engineering degree. You might not be doing that, I don't know. But looking at this, I can see that there is a Physics 140 with a lab, and then a Physics 240 with a lab, okay? Now, that's not super helpful. I don't know what those are, so maybe I would need to go into a course registrar, type in University of Michigan, Physics 140, and figure out what that is. What I can also do is I can find on UMichigan all of their AP exam requirements and guidelines for that. So if I'm looking at this AP exam stuff over here, I can scroll and say, hey, look, AP Physics C Mechanics is what they're calling Physics 140 and 141. So if you get, and let's see, the score credit for the course, if you get a 5 on the AP Physics C Mechanics test, that will get you out of this physics course at University of Michigan, which is probably a lecture and a lab associated with it. Okay, so yeah, there's the lab right there, 141. If you get a 5 on the AP Physics C E&M course, it will get you out of the second one. Some colleges you need a 5. Some will take a 4 or a 5. I think Penn State does 4s and 5s for most things. But some colleges are, you need a 5. You need to crush this, okay? Where if you're looking at it and you're like, maybe I'll get a 5, maybe take a shot. If it's a 4 or 5, you can probably get that if you know what you're doing, okay? So Physics 1 isn't even on this list. If you got a 5 on the Physics 1 test and a 5 on the Physics 2 test, and then you went in for this environmental engineering degree, wouldn't help you at all. It just wouldn't. It would not help you. Now, that being said, if you're going into something like a biology degree, maybe the Physics 1 and 2s would help you, okay? Except at Michigan, they're not even listed, so they won't. I think some schools have them listed, some don't, okay? So it really depends on what schools you're looking at and what you want there. So like let's look at Penn State AP credit. I'm literally just Googling this right now, right? Here, we'll see what this is. I don't know what this link is. Okay, so Physics 1. So Penn State will take a 4 or 5 on that test for Physics 250, and let's see what Physics 250 is. So let's go for a mechanical engineering at Penn State, and let's check out what that schedule of courses. So Penn State engineering, oh, that looks like not what I want. Let's go to the undergrad. Suggested academic plan. Boom. Click that. University Park campus. Okay, so the first year I need Physics 211. Well, Physics 1 was for Physics 250. Physics 211 is their calculus-based course. Physics 250 is their non-calculus-based course. If you're trying to be a mechanical engineer at Penn State, the Physics 1 and Physics 2 aren't going to help you, because the next one's Physics 212, and that's their E&M. So, that's a bit of an issue. For other things, it might help you, okay? But I know for a fact that for a lot of the engineering and for a lot of the sciences, the hard sciences, you're going to need the AP Physics C stuff in that regard, okay? Now, maybe you're like, okay, so I'll take the AP Physics C and I'll take both of them. I'll get a 5. I'll get out of these 2 classes here. That'll save me so much time, and it's going to save me a lot of money. You don't know how much college is, Coach B. You don't know what it's like, Lord Restob. Yes, I do. Like, it's a ton of money. And let's talk about how you'll actually go saving some, okay? So maybe it's worth it for you. Maybe it's not worth it for you. You got to check. I know some of my students were able to get out of both of these, and for their comp sci degree, that was all the physics they ever needed, and they're good, okay? But let's actually talk about, like, you take these tests and you get out of them because you are the greatest thing that ever existed, okay? Ding, you did it. Everybody's proud of you. I'm proud of you, okay? What happens then? Well, if we go and look at this environmental engineering thing, you got out of the Physics 140, 141, right? And if we go and look at the Penn State mechanical engineering, your fall of your first year here was, you didn't even have a physics. That physics came in the spring. So if you get out of the first physics class, cool. Well, what do you take instead? You'll take the second physics. That's the E&M. So you got out of mechanics, now you're taking E&M. Well, what if you got out of E&M too? That would mean that you'd start up here in the spring of your second year, right? Now, that means you're tossing in an EMech course or a mechanical engineering course in there, which, if we take a look at some of these, let's take a look at Mechanical Engineering 300 and see what pops up for it. This is Engineering Thermodynamics, okay? You need a prerequisite of Intro Chem class and Math 141. So, in theory, you should be able to take that. Not too crazy. But let's say, you're getting out of some of these things. At some point in time, you might accidentally find yourself in a situation where you need 2 prereqs. Like, I'm looking at this. This is Circuit Analysis, Instrumentation, and Statistics. It's a 300 level course. You need Physics 212, which is E&M, but you also need Math 251, which if I recall correctly is differential equations at Penn State. Well, you're not taking Math 251 until your second year, okay? So you could get yourself into a kind of weird spot where you might need, like, this math here, and you just haven't taken it yet because something else is, like, getting in the way. That could happen. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen. You could have a schedule set up where you're waiting for something, and you're like, okay, I've taken this, I'm taking that, I skipped this, I pulled this down, and I can't take this. I actually can't take this because I don't know something to take it there. Or you're just like, I won't take anything then. I'll just make my semester a little easier with one less course, which isn't a bad thing. But this is just, it's a gap, okay? There's nothing there. Which is kind of a waste of time then, right? If there could be something there, let's get something there, because you want to get out of college faster and you want to save money. Well, let's talk about the saving money thing. If you go to college, there's a total of 8 semesters in theory if you graduate on time, right? There's first year fall, first year spring, second fall, second spring, third fall, third spring, fourth fall, fourth spring. Well, let's say you get out of the 2 physics things you need because you took the 2 AP Physics tests. That means you got out of 1 class here and 1 class there. That's not enough for you to graduate early. They're not even close. If we go and look at that schedule, if you only get out of a physics and a physics class, your spring semester, it still has you listed as taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 courses. 6 courses here. Some of them are elective courses like Gen Eds, but you have 1, 2, 3 mechanical engineering courses for that. And if we go ahead and look at what the U-Michigan was, well, I guess they're set up a little bit differently. Like you still have courses that you may need to take, okay? So because of this, if you want to try to graduate early, like if you want to say, I'm not going to be here for the spring of my senior year, that means you need to get out of the way at least 5 or 6 AP tests. Because if you don't, if you still have a few courses here, then what will happen is you still need to exist at the school for that. And you still are going to have to pay for these courses, which leaves you with 2 options. The one option is, hey, look, I only have a few courses here. What I'll do is I'll take them per credit. Okay? So maybe at your school, a credit is like $1,000. We'll pick an easy number. So if you've got 6 credits here, you're going to owe the school $6,000. If you were full-time, maybe your full-time tuition is, I don't know, we're just going to pick a number. Maybe it's $20,000. So you'd save like $14,000 there. But here's the thing. Full-time at a lot of schools is 12 credits, okay? If you have 12, 15, 18, 21 credits, you're always going to pay the same amount. Always. No matter what. That is the full-time credit load and cost of tuition there, okay? If you do things per credit, yeah, you might save some money, but if you start being like, I've got 4 courses here and it's 10 credits, I don't know how much you're going to be saving there in actuality because the costs are actually going to be a lot closer than what I have displayed here. So you might not actually be getting out a semester early unless you have, if you can imagine, you've got like 2 physics courses or 2 science courses you've taken. Maybe you got out of 2 math. Maybe you got out of a AP history. Maybe you got out of an art course or something like that because these are just gen eds, right? Like those don't count towards your major. They count to like your general education credits at most schools. So you need like quite a few AP credits to actually say my senior year is going to end early. That's tough to do. That's very tough to do. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind. You might not actually be saving money because if you only have 1 or 2 AP credits, you're still going to be here in the spring of your 4th year and you're still going to have like 12 credits here and you're still going to be paying a full credit load. It'll be easier because you only have 12 credits. You won't have to stress as much, which is super nice. It will guarantee that you graduate in 4 years instead of the super senior 5 or the mega super senior 6 years to graduate, which we are going to avoid at all cost. But in terms of saving money, you might not be able to save anything unless you kind of take enough to get out of there. Okay? One of the other things that ends up happening, depending on the AP test, depending on how well you think you know the material, and this is one of the issues with COVID this year, kind of like messing us up a bit. A lot of your later courses are going to use these intro ones as hardcore prereqs. And you might have teachers at that school that are like, hey, look, in that AP Physics C course, which was like Physics 211 or 212, we taught you here a specific thing. We need you to use that specific thing. I'm teaching you pretty much everything I can. But I might not teach you some weird specific thing that they pull out of their hat, right? Well, that's one of the reasons why we do the intergalactic, so you are ready for everything that comes your way. But if you're missing that specific thing, it could make later courses more difficult, okay? In which case, some places will tell you, hey, I know you got a 5 on this AP test, but why don't you just go take it again? Okay, just go take it again. We'll make sure everything is perfect for you. And most students actually find that their freshman year, moving to a college, whether it's nearby or far away, big or small, that's a big life change. And that's actually kind of a hard thing to do. You're making new friends, you're trying to meet new people, you're trying to manage your time for the first time ever in an actual adult manner. It's difficult. So some people say that, and I would probably agree with them. I know I went through this. That your freshman year, if you can take things down a notch, like if you're like, I could take things up to 11, let's shoot for like a 9 right now. If you're thinking 11, just take things a little slower, get you some courses that make you feel good about this, so that we can kind of cruise through it and get everything situated before we start tackling the crazy stuff. Okay, I know, and if you have a AP physics course, which is, in college, like the 211, 212 or whatever, if you're able to go into those exams and be like, I just crushed it. I only missed 1 or 2 questions. I feel great. Everybody else is struggling. I struggled last year with Botzer, taking his exams, and I feel great right now in college. Thanks, Lord Restob. That's wonderful. Like, that's what we want, okay? Because you're paying for that college. We want you to be able to do that. The other thing that is highly recommended whenever you retake these courses is that some of you might be getting scholarships for your college. Some of those scholarships might be based on keeping a certain GPA. Some of you might already be thinking about graduate school. And if you're thinking about some graduate schools, especially for medicine, you need to make sure your GPA stays above some certain threshold. For most scholarships, it's like somewhere around a 3.5. If you're going into med school, you're going to want a 3.9 to a 4.0 in order to get into the med school you want to get into. This is stupidly difficult, but it's what's required anymore with the hoops that you need to jump in through med school. Okay? To do this, you need to make sure that the classes you take, you're crushing them. And if you're able to say, hey, I've already taken this physics class or this calc course or this whatever, and I can already get an A in it, and I'll just make sure I study, and I'll make sure that I keep this scholarship money coming in, and I'll make sure I keep my GPA high for grad school, that's what you want. Retake the course. Because if you test out of it with your 5 that you got on the AP test, they don't give you GPA credit for that. They just say, you tested out, but we're not going to score it. You can go on to the next class, but we're not going to help your GPA out at all. So you're basically saying, I won't take the 4.0 on my GPA, and I'm going to take the next harder thing, and I'm going to hope I do well in that based on what I did in the past. That's a risky gambit if you're trying to do scholarships and GPA stuff. So that's another thing to think about when you do this, okay? My personal recommendation is as follows. If you know right off the bat that you're only taking 1 or 2 AP tests, just don't worry about it. Just don't. Because unless you are trying to get out of something specific that in college they might use as a weed out class, like some of these physics courses are weed out classes where there's a bunch of people in them and not a lot of people make it through. Maybe you want to get out of that situation where you don't want that stress. Sure, then take it, okay? But if you're trying to take just 1 or 2 and trying to say, I'm going to save a bunch of money to graduate early, you're not, okay? You're essentially saying, I'm going to take 1 or 2 classes to make my college experience easier, okay? And as my former students say, like physics and math courses, those are large weed out courses. Everybody thinks that they can go into engineering or a science or a math, and once they actually start taking calculus maybe for the first time, they find out they can't. If you've already taken calculus once, you should feel good with Cotton and Phillips. They are amazing. But if you are able to get out of those courses, save yourself the headache, then that's great. You're not going to save yourself any money, but you're going to save yourself a headache, which will maybe prevent you going super senior level 17 like Goku and saving your money in that way. Okay? So that's really how the AP tests boil out. My recommendation then is if you've got the money and you can swing it, okay? If you're like, hey, look, I'm going to take, 2 or 3 AP tests. I'm going to take a physics because I want to get out of a weed out course and I want to make my life a little easier. and I feel very strong with the content, or maybe you're like, hey, I'm just gonna take the calculus A/B test, the Calc 1, because I know calculus 2 is just a lot of Calc 1 again, and I'll have a good foundation for that, and I want to get out of that one course. If you're taking like 1 to 2 AP tests and you can swing that money, then take them. Okay, it'll cost you $100 to $200, which, yes, that is a lot of money. I completely understand that. $200 is $200. But what you need to remember is that every semester you are at, well, every year you are at a college, you are going to be dropping something like $20,000 to $60,000, depending on where you are at. This $200 here is the cost of like half of a book. If that will save you some headache so that you can graduate on time in the 4 years, so that you don't have to pay another year of this, that's worth it. In my opinion, that is worth it. Okay? Now, if you feel that, hey, I'm going into a science and I don't want to miss out on my intro courses because maybe there is something that they need to teach me. Maybe I need that Physics 211. Maybe I need that Physics 212. Then if you're going into a science, a math, and engineering, go take the AP History electives. Go take the AP Art electives. Go take, the AP Spanish electives. Get out of those Gen Eds. Those Gen Eds in college, they are time sinks. If you're going to become a mechanical engineer, you really don't care about the fantasy literature world of the Arthurian legend. That's a course I took in college. But you don't care about it. You're going for mechanical engineering. That is literally something that's going to take up 3 or more hours of your week just in class, plus all the readings you have to do. You're going to drop 10 hours a week just on something that you will never touch outside of college. Is it cool? Sure it is. But is it what you need to make sure that you're going to be successful outside of your university? When we think about that, taking those AP credits is actually way more beneficial for you, okay? On the flip side of things, if you're in my class right now and you're going into like, I want to be a writer, or I want to be an English teacher, or I want to go into business, you better be taking my AP test so bad, because that is the one you need to get out of. Like, I am your elective class, so to speak. And if you can get out of it, that will save you a lot of time in the sciences at college, okay? So that's something to keep in mind when you're going there. In general, that's what you have to think about. And it's really, you have to go through each college and figure out what you want, what their schedules are giving you, and what's going to line up. And that's a lot of work. And I know the College Board is asking you to make that decision early, but that's how it's going down. And the big thing is, when you're told you're going to be saving a lot of money, oftentimes you're not. Okay? Oftentimes when you take the AP test, you are going to be out a few $100s. What you are saving yourself is a little bit of sanity. You're reducing that credit load in a semester so you have more free time in case you need it somewhere. Maybe one class is harder than another, or something coming up is a big project and it's going to be crazy. So you can save some time there. And that sanity will keep you out of being a super senior or a super mega ultra senior. Okay? So that's what I have to say about the AP tests. That is not what the College Board wants me to say. College Board wants me to say, take them all, give us money. That is not what the school wants me to say. Our administration would prefer if every single student took every single AP test and their AP numbers went through the roof. Okay? Every school wants that because it makes schools look great. The colleges, they could care less. They're getting their money off of you anyways. So this was for you, the intergalactic. This is what I think you should do. You can agree or disagree with me with that. You can contact some of my old students if you'd like to see how AP tests have helped or harmed them. But this is just my 2 cents regarding that topic. I will prep you for that AP test so that you can be successful on it. But if you don't want to take it, no hard feelings. If you want to take everything under the sun, way to go. Good for you. We'll crush them. Okay? So that's what I have to say with that. If you got any further questions, hit me up. The Coach Botzer email. This link on comment section in this YouTube here, or hit me up on Twitch and ask some questions. Okay? But right now, that's it. I will see you later. Adios.